Hey, welcome back to JSR Farms on YouTube. Today, we're going to talk about drought. Yeah, out here at my house today, we're going to look around at some projects we're doing and visit with you a little bit about drought 2021/2020, continuation of drought 2020. It's bad, very, very bad. Here is my windbreak trees that we planted, about 10 years ago. We are in the process of putting a new drip system in. These trees really need a drink of water pretty bad. You might notice that, they look kind of mauled and kind of shredded. And then you look down here on the ground and you see deer pellets all over the place. You see that tree's just pretty well shredded down. Thinking, what in the world hit this? Well, there's deer pellets here. We have been invaded by deer. I bet there's 100 in this one herd that comes over here every night, and they look for food. They are in dire need of food. There's hardly any grass here in the pastures. They're forage eaters anyway. They love this kind of forage, and they get to eating this stuff, and it fills them up, and they just been havoc on all of our trees. And we're not the only ones. We've got several people here that are complaining about the deer. You can see deer tracks all over the place around here. And I'm going to take that to tell y'all a little bit about what's happening with the rain chances and the drought here in eastern Mexico, west Texas, as I like to call it. Yes, that's two wests. There's a West Texas state line, and then there's another West Texas state line that includes me. I don't include myself with New Mexico. I'm a Texan. I might live in New Mexico, but that don't mean I am a New Mexican. You might say, move! Well, it's hard to uproot a family and on my farm to go 34 miles east into Texas. So we are just a continuation of Texas. And New Mexico that needs to succeed from the state of New Mexico into the great state of Texas. So let's talk a little bit about our drought, what we're doing. As you can see here, this is our hay grazer stubble from last year. I deep broke and put barnyard on this last year. Wow, look at them big old deer pellets. But we deep broke this last year, planted the hay grazer. This whole field here in fall of 2020, there's 240 acres here. The whole field made 44 big square bales off of 240 acres. Yes, that's nothing, folks. That is nothing. You rake, you put two into one with the swather, then you rake two of those together, put four into one, and then you run 10 miles an hour, and you might make a bale on a round or on a through, but sometimes it's like a through and a half. So there's another big old pile of deer pellets. They're everywhere. But this is what we have to deal with. I've got, 1,500 acres of this. And that's the only green around here is my windbreak trees. And yes, the wind blows. Wind blows every day here. 20 mile an hour is nothing. At 20 mile an hour is a normal day. Some of y'all back east are saying, man, 20 miles an hour, that's big time wind. No, that's just a normal day here in New Mexico, West Texas. I'm gonna start referring to it as West Texas. So I'm not even gonna say New Mexico no more. Sorry to say that, but I just ain't. Yes, we are in a drought, and it's pretty severe. You know, I've been toying with the idea of doing minimum till, no till. Does no till really work? My opinion, no. Not in my area, it does not. Minimum till, yeah. If you'll plow the ground and get it loose and leave the stubble. I call it stubble farming. And stubble farming is what I like to do because it helps in the wind erosion. It leaves the stubble up on top. If you've looked back at some of my other videos, you'll see that I've pulled I call it a stubble moss plow. It's a big blade plow. Sunflower, Flex King, Richardson, they all make them. Rollicone. They make a blade plow, and it's big 5 foot sweeps, 6 foot sweeps. I had one that had 8 foot sweeps on it. Big sweeps that go under the ground. It does not disturb the top. It leaves all the trash up top, and it kills all the roots underneath. And I pull them deep. I call that minimum tilling or stubble farming. That's probably what I'm going to do here. I'm probably going to spray this, and I don't know what to spray it with. And it needs moisture to activate, I understand. But if I could get by with just stubble plowing, stubble mulching this one time, and I'm saying, down into May, 1st of June-ish, if we don't get any rain, which we hadn't had any rain since I stuck the tractor, many months ago on this channel. You can, look back at it at my John Deere tractor stuck. That's the last rain we've really had. This never got any rain while it was growing, this hay grazer. The stubble you see, it was all raised on the moisture we got to plant it on. That's it. It hit into the old moisture we broke on, but that's all. If we hadn't broke it last year, we wouldn't have made nothing. And I say that because we actually preserved the moisture with the breaking plow and the packer. That packer that I pulled, you can look back at some of my videos. It sealed back the top, and it preserved the bottom moisture. Then what we added with it when we planted, it met moisture, which means the new moisture met the old moisture. Then we planted it, the roots was able to go down it through in the new moisture, and it hit the old moisture, and it survived. Some people think, man, hey, I got a ½ inch of rain, I'll plant. Yeah, it'll look good for a few days until that top burns off, and then you don't have no bottom moisture to go with it, and then your hay grazer's just, it's just, or milo or wheat or whatever, it's just gonna just fizzle out and die from lack of moisture. And you're thinking, well, it just didn't rain. Well, you didn't plow, loosen up the ground, and you didn't get profile and preserve that moisture for future use, and you didn't let it meet moisture. Sometimes they wait for a ½ inch of rain thinking, man, I can plant. Well, there's a dry strip in between the new moisture and the old moisture, and that plant, when it goes and it burns up that top moisture, it won't go down in there. It don't have enough power, energy to go down there and hit that old moisture and go. You've got to let it meet moisture. It means the top is, you got a profile, and then it has a chance to make it. So that's my theory about hay grazers right there. On farming, you got to have winter moisture, and when you're, profile, you have to have old moisture. You have to have it wet deep, and then the new rain will meet the moisture. I hate plowing ahead of my drill. Hate it. Hate it. Here's a quick tip for you. We're going to take off this Eastern New Mexico University sticker here, and I soaked it already, but I'm going to soak it again. Yeah, that's right, we're using WD-40, and no, they're not a sponsor of me. But we're going to use WD-40. Not a sponsor yet, huh? And sticker will peel off a lot better using WD-40. Now what the WD-40 is really for, I like, is to get the old glue off and clean the window off. So, you got this like old sticker part on there. The glue is left behind and you can't hardly get it off your windows. I'll show you in a bit, but it's not working too good getting the actual sticker off. And somewhere I've got a scraper. I don't know what I did with it. But anyway, let me work on this and I'll get right back to y'all. All right, you know how you got that kind of the old glue? You see it there? That glue. You take your WD-40. I know it's making a mess of your windows, but and then it just comes right off, just like it's rubber cement or something peeling off your hand. You ever do that when you're in elementary? Put rubber cement on your hand. Look at there. It just comes off like a big old loogie, and it cleans your window right up. And then you have to use a window cleaner to clean it off good. But look at there, all gone. It's your little tip for today. WD-40. It works good for glue be gone, and it's a lot cheaper. The difference between no-till in this country versus the Midwest, where y'all do a lot of no-till, y'all don't understand why we don't no-till in this dry, arid country. That's because it don't work here like it does in y'all's area. The winter times, y'all are wet, and y'all get, way cold weather, where it actually fractures your ground. It's wet, and it expands as ice. As water freezes, it'll expand, and then when it thaws, it'll open up, and it'll actually loosen up the soil. And also, when y'all are dry up north, like in the Dakotas, it'll actually fracture the ground when it gets too dry. That will actually open up your ground, and when it rains, then the water has some place to get through and let you have profile. Here, we don't get that winter freezing and fracturing of the ground, and so we have to fracture it ourselves with a ripper, a breaking plow, some kind of plow, and actually get that ground loose enough that when we do have our flash flood rains come in, the ground is like a sponge, and it will soak up that rain, and it won't run off. I've seen many a time some people say, well, hell, we had 8 inches this summer of rainfall, and I didn't make no kind of crop. Well, that's because your field's like a highway, and it might be all smooth and all looking pretty, and it looks great, but if you can't stick a two-wheel drive pickup out in the middle of it, or even a four-wheel drive pickup, for that matter, out in the middle of it, you ain't farming in this country. I mean, this, you've got to get it loose, you got to get it right, you got to get the soil right. That way, when we do have that flash flood, if any water runs out of your field, it either come all in 20 minutes, all your summer rainfall come in 20 minutes, or you didn't plow. And so we have to get that ground, super soft. But then we still need to go back in there on the surface and make a good seed bed for us to plant our seed. That way, and like I was saying earlier, when it rains, you have to let it and give it time. A lot of people jump in there the morning after it rains and say, man, I'm going to drill. Or they go in there a minute before, or a minute after it rains and a minute before they plant, and they go and they start plowing. Well, they're going to waste all their moisture plowing. Then they're going to plant in loose dirt, and they're going to have a dry streak in it because they're going to be plowing, a dry streak in it, and their seed's going to die. So before it actually hits that old moisture, you've got to have your moisture just right when it rains, you got to have your ground perfect, ready to plant. And that way when it rains, you meet moisture, you plant that seed in that good firm dirt, and the seed will follow the moisture. It won't ever hit a dry streak. It'll go down into that old moisture, go down in there, and it'll stretch down deep because you've got it all broke up and loose. And it'll go down there, and it'll just, and it will have a better chance of making it in this country. That's farming here in West Texas. Like I said, I ain't going to say New Mexico no more. West Texas. So, yeah, and we are dry right now. So I'm not going to do anything. But we're loose because we broke last year, and we didn't hardly raise a crop of it last year. So sometime this summer, I will run a blade plow in there, and I will stubble farm that. And I'm going to lift up my pickers, and I'm just going to basically kill the ground. And then if rain does come, we're going to spray with Roundup if it's before I plant. Sometimes people think, man, hey, it rained here at the 1st of June. I bet you're going to plant hay grazer. No, I'm not. People think, damn, you're crazy, Esri. What are you doing? We plant for that 90-day window at the end of the growing season. Yes, you can plant hay grazer in May, and sometimes I have, and I've rung the bell. Most of the times I haven't. That summer heat kills hay grazer. It just, because you don't get the rain usually, and it saps all the energy out of it. You have nitrate problems, you have this and that. If you plant it about the 1st of July to the middle of July, and you get a pretty good rain, 20th of July is perfect. That's plenty of time for your 90 days before frost. And you could have an excellent fall. It's not as hot. You have the monsoons coming in, and you have a lot better chances of making hay grazer than I have. I have rung the bell planting the 1st of August before. I mean, make 3 tons to the acre, and that's a lot here on dryland when we don't get 16 inches a year. How you farm here in New Mexico, West Texas, is different than when you farm in Kansas, the way you farm in Illinois, where you farm in Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, totally different. We could probably go over there, and we would probably do good, but y'all probably have your wolf in the weeds too, just like we have our wolf in the weeds. So, and wolf in the weeds by saying there is something out there that we don't know that we've got to learn in every part of the country. And like on hay kings, a guy needs to be careful on hay kings because you don't know how dry or how wet or what the conditions are like to bale hay in other parts of the country. And so that's why when you say, no-till, you don't know what you're talking about. It works everywhere. No, it don't work everywhere. Just like raising hay grazer doesn't work everywhere. It don't dry out. They've got to wrap it. Over there in the south and east, they've got to wrap it because it never dries out. Here, we don't have that problem. It dries out, quick, and we bale it, no problems. We can't raise grass here. We don't have enough rain. So it's just like that, things like that. So to say no-till does not work in this country, I think after a lifetime growing up here and after 3 to 26 years of my own self, I think I pretty well know what I'm talking about when I say no-till does not work in this country. And it's been tried before, usually on a government program where they're getting government money to subsidize them. And I'm all against government subsidies. I will take some insurance money sometimes or some, something like that, but I'm not a government man. So my cap is not shaped like the mailbox. It's and speaking of that, stay tuned, and I got something else to show you. Not show you, but talk to you about caps. We've been getting a lot of caps in lately. We got some from and I bought some, and I've gotten given several here not too long ago. Right here's a Wilker hat. I bought this Wilker hat off of the Wilker website, Wilker Farms website. I've also bought a Bell's hay cap from Bell's Hay over there in Buckeye, Arizona, the Trevor Bales. But F&B Network, the Farm Business Network, they have given me a cap for me to wear on some of my videos. You think Red E has given me, I don't know if y'all know who Red E is, but Red E worked on Wilker Farms and Millennial Farmers' air drills this winter, and so you might check them out, their YouTube, and them out on social media. They sent me a cap, all kinds of stuff. Let me see if I've got that one ruler. I do. Red E, see there? Yeah, this little ruler. They sent me a ruler, a bucket, a t-shirt, a cap, here's some stickers. Man, just, they're just awesome. Thank you boys from Ready. And we're going to start, wearing some of this stuff. We got Hay Kings merchandise too. We've got some Hay Kings caps and t-shirts we're going to be wearing. That's just, our partnership with Hay Kings. If you haven't already seen or listened to my podcast with Hay Kings, please do so. Check out Hay Kings podcast, and you can look me up. I'm on episode, I believe it's 3. No, it's season 3, episode 2. I believe is what my podcast is. I'll link it below, but check that out. Very, very interesting. They talked to me for about 20 some odd minutes. John does there at Hay Kings, and we visit about our farm here in New Mexico, West Texas. And he edited out the other West. I don't know why, but I wasn't stuttering. Not right then. It's West Texas is where I'm from, not Eastern New Mexico. So I can't stress that enough. But anyway, check all that out, and hey, I appreciate it. It's been a little long, just kind of visiting about video, but something that needed to be clarified, and talk a little about no-till, my thoughts on no-till, my opinions of no-till in my area, and my hay ground and our deer problem, and my caps. So anyway, appreciate it. God bless y'all, and I hope we end the drought soon, please. And thank you for watching my channel. We're over 400 subscriptions now, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Please hit that thumbs up, and that leave a comment below, subscribe, hit that little bell at the end, and we appreciate it. So God bless, and see y'all later.